It may not seem like an obvious destination in a series about global retail and consumerism, but this week I've come to Libya to find out how a country, which has been an international pariah for so long, is now going about rebranding itself as a modern trading nation.
The first time I came to Libya was 1999. The sanctions had just been lifted. There was a slow but steady trickle of entrepreneurs coming into this country to seek new opportunities, and there was no mobile phone network. Aside from this feeling of complete isolation, the most striking thing about the place was the complete and utter absence of global mega brands. And for an international airport, you could say it's still rather barren.
A handful of years on, will my impressions of Libya be any different? My last visit, which was rather unofficial, was without a camera crew. I was writing for my magazine wallpaper. But coming here now to film a documentary is still extremely unusual. This is a country that is unaccustomed to the presence of foreign media, perhaps media in general. There are no major foreign news bureaus in Tripoli, and commercial advertising has only recently been legalized.
It hasn't changed as much as I thought it would have, actually. I was expecting this stretch of road in from the airport to be literally owned by the Koreans, that we'd have LG and Samsung and Daewoo everywhere, but there's no threat to Mr. Gaddafi losing his billboard or poster space, and he appears about every kilometer or so along the stretch. There's something actually quite charming about this, because this is probably one of the few roadways in a major city on the Mediterranean which is not owned by mega brands still.
The mega brand here is the leader and his now 36-year-old Green Revolution. It's a revolution that is celebrated everywhere in paint, green paint. Forget the red flag, red square. Here, green is it. Green square, green flags, green shop fronts, even green shopping baskets. But is brand Libya, with its uniformity, its attention to detail, what I would call its corporate control freakery, misinterpreted by the outside world?
Libya is unique. Libya is unique because of many factors. Even if you look at it historically in every sense, Libya hasn't been really copying any other model. So we are very different from Egypt. We are very different from Tunisia. We are very different from the Gulf. I like to say that we are a league of our own.
Well, this is the Socialist People's Libyan Arab Jamahiriya, or Libya for short. You've got Tunisia, Algeria and Morocco off to the west, and of course Egypt and the balance of the Arab world to the east. But what's really interesting about this place is that it's quite literally sitting on Europe's doorstep, with Greece, Malta and of course Italy and the wider European world right up to the north. 90% of the population is living along the coast, and there's roughly about 5 million people here. But what's really interesting is that this country recently implemented a series of economic reforms, which means its tent is now open for business.
Tony Blair's visit in 2004 with that extraordinary meeting in a tent signaled that Libya is now open for business. Sanctions were lifted in 1999, the Lockerbie case settled, Libya renounced its weapons of mass destruction in 2003, and the big foreign oil companies are back and competing for licenses to explore. As well as plans to privatize hundreds of state-owned enterprises, laws restricting advertising have also recently been reformed. As yet, no big global agencies are on the scene, but a new generation of homegrown entrepreneurs like Moawi and Magur are turning their hand to this embryonic advertising scene.
Could you tell us what the media scene is like here? What do people have at their disposal? And I'm talking about the average Libyan in terms of television.
Yeah. Printing is very popular till the moment. Plus we do have 2 channels, the Libyan Corporation and the Nadi channel, it's a sports channels. We have newspapers, lifestyle magazines, and we have lots of websites coming up. Libya Online, we have Libyan Yellow Pages, Libico.com. It's very popular to have
It's interesting because if I look at, let's say if you jump across the Mediterranean to let's say Beirut, and you've got young Lebanese who've really grown up with tons of magazines, and obviously a very, very vibrant magazine culture. Here you've got a young generation who haven't grown up with all of these different titles. Do you think that they're going to go straight to websites and maybe they don't care so much about magazines?
No, they care about magazines, but I don't know. We didn't see any magazines coming up past years, but I think we will have some new young lifestyles magazines.
This billboard over here, when I came here in '99, I didn't see any of those. Is that?
No, there was no.
It's a new innovation.
Yeah, it is. It's been there for 3 years, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's controlling where they go, and who's actually sort of giving a license to say, look, we can have that billboard right there? I mean, do you see it's going to be a bit of a free-for-all, or is it controlled?
It's, let's say it's free-for-all. You can put your advert wherever you want if you have the money for that.
Right.
Yeah.
And on the international side, I mean, who's really pushing to come into this country right now?
I think everybody.
Really?
Yeah. Telecommunication, motors, We have, for example, we have BMW now and Nokia. This is our main clients.
The big question that interests me, and I'm quite sure preoccupies the minds of the people in charge of Libya and its future, is how the country will cope when those media barbarians, the big brands, and their delivery channels push down the doors and flood in. Make no mistake, 5, 10 years down the line, the present brand-free Libya will be unrecognizable. Having traveled down many high streets for this series, I think Libya should treasure the culture of small business that makes its towns unique. This laboratory for the non-brand should think twice before it takes the plunge.
Well, this is the real deal, and Libya's got the luxury of perspective because it can look across the region to Dubai and hopefully avoid some of the mistakes of making this place a bit too sanitized as development continues. The flip side, too, is that it is wonderful because it is crumbling, and there's a real vibrancy in street life in this country which you can never buy or manufacture, and hopefully this can be preserved.
It's partly the fantastic social and racial mix that makes Libya such an exciting place to visit. You can buy gold from a Tripolitanian or shirts from a tailor from Chad.
Dans le champ, dans le jardin, quoi. Il y a des travailleurs des éleveurs qui viennent en dehors des travaux, quoi. Ils viennent pour nous acheter. Ça nous plaît, oui, comme notre deuxième pays. On n'a pas de problème avec nos préliminaires.
In a globalized world, there ought to be a place for the one-off and the unique.
How much is...
This is about 80 dinar.
80 dinar.
Yes, and we have this one is imitation.
Right.
China.
Yeah.
Imitation.
Well, it's plastic.
Yeah. All is really stones. Yeah.
This is national branding at its best. Libyan in-car air fresheners. You can have pine-scented, or you can have lemon-scented. I think there's a huge market for these.
Libya's history is strewn with warnings about what happens when change occurs suddenly, not smoothly. 7 hours drive southwest of Tripoli into the Sahara, you can find a reminder of what happens to places when the retail market environment changes dramatically. The ancient, now deserted city of Ghadames is an extraordinary monument to trade, a UNESCO World Heritage Site